Hello there. My name is Jamie Batten, and I am the counselor at Sunnyvale High School. Thank you so much for taking the time to view this presentation. It is a lot of information, and so whether this is your first time as a high school parent or your baby is going to finally get here, we are so excited, and we are here to partner with you in this transition. So we'll go ahead and get started. The goal of this meeting today is to discuss graduation requirements, endorsements, what those are, and what exactly that entails. We will briefly speak on our rank policy and weighted courses and the implications that can have on your students. Then finally, we'll talk about ninth grade course selections. Students that are in person or given a form to fill out so that as a family, you guys can choose and circle which courses they plan to take. If your student is an online learner, then those forms are available on my website. Or they'll also be emailed out. Then finally, we'll talk about next steps. And if you have questions, because this is a recorded presentation, you can just email me and I will get with you as quickly as possible. So in 2013, the state decided that they wanted to change graduation requirements. So rather than having what we would consider the minimum plan, the recommended plan, or the distinguished plan, that is antiquated verbiage. So now we work off of Foundation High School Program, Foundation with endorsement, and then students can earn distinguished level achievement and performance acknowledgments. So kind of think about it like a sandwich, and the foundation piece is like that big chunk of bread that you have to have for it to be a sandwich. Every student starts that, but a sandwich wouldn't be complete if it didn't have some meat on it. So at Sunnyvale, we start all students actually on the Foundation with endorsement plan. And then, of course, anything additional makes for an even better pathway. So we'll start with the Foundation High School Program. So the Foundation High School Program is what we would maybe consider like a minimal plan. It only requires 22 credits. You can see the list of those there. This is also on our graduation requirements. It's also on my website, so you can see it all kind of in one place. But what I wanted to do is break it down for you so you could see it. So on the Foundation High School Program, a student has to have 4 credits of English, 3 credits of math, 3 credits of social studies, 3 credits of science, 2 world language credits, 1 fine art, 1 PE, and 5 elective credits. Obviously, we want students to get more than the minimal, and we know that students should do that. So we have all students graduate with an endorsement. So to earn an endorsement, a student has to get 1 additional credit of math, bringing that total to 4 math credits required, 1 additional credit of science, bringing that total to 4 credits of science required, and then they'll also need the requirements of an endorsement. So what I like to think about it as your endorsement is kind of like your major in high school. If you're like me, parents, when you went to school, you thought maybe you knew what your degree plan would be, or if you went straight into the workforce, you may have thought this is my career pathway, and we recognize that those things change. So the whole idea is, as an 8th grader, a student can choose from a variety of endorsement areas to kind of get their feet wet in that field. The other exciting thing about that is within several of our endorsements, there's opportunities to earn industry-based certifications, which make a student employable right out of school. So it's important to recognize the value in endorsements. And the great part is it gives students an opportunity to make some choices and choose what is best for them. So the endorsements that we offer or plan to anticipate offering next year, you can kind of think about it as major categories within, and then of course they are delineated a little more. So within the arts and humanities endorsement, students can choose between fine arts, social sciences, and foreign language. And in a moment, we'll talk about what each of those endorsements, how to earn that endorsement, which classes have to be taken. Within the business and industry cluster, we have several choices there: agribusiness, business management, accounting and financial services, design and multimedia arts, programming and software development, and journalism. So that's a much larger cluster, and they're all available for your student to choose from. Within the public service endorsement, we have healthcare therapeutics. Within the STEM endorsement, we have STEM engineering, STEM math, STEM science. And then finally, we have a multidisciplinary in case none of those other ones are appealing to your student or they want an opportunity to kind of explore within all of the different endorsements. So what we'll do is kind of break it down by endorsement. So business and industry, remember, has 6 different ones you can choose from. So this is actually the personal graduation plan form. You can see these, but what I want to note is within the agribusiness pathway, this would be like the first course students would take, the second course, the third course, and the fourth course. The idea being they start in a pathway in 9th grade and finish it in 12th grade. So within the agribusiness pathway, you can see that the students will be exposed to.
Teachers, as a reminder, please complete your night period ADA attendance and gradebook. Thank you.
Sorry about that, the joy of technology and working at school. Within the agribusiness pathway, there are those are the courses that they would be expected to take. For more information on any of these specific courses, by the way, you can see my website. We have the course description guide available for you, where you can read about the specific courses. Within business management, students take the principles of business class, then move into business information, business management, and then they complete. It should also be noted that the goal would be a student to complete a practicum period by their 12th grade year, and that's where they will really learn those industry-based certifications and get some really good employability schools right out of high school. Then we have accounting and financial services, and you can read those. The difference being that junior year course, rather than business management, they take financial analysis. So continuing on the business and industry endorsement, there's also design and multimedia arts, which is more for your arts AV technology minded student. Then they go to commercial photography in 10th grade, graphic design, and then complete a practicum. Also within business and industry is programming and software development, which is really computer science. Again, they start in 9th grade in computer science, then go to 2, 3, and complete a practicum. And then we also offer journalism, and the student would take yearbook all 4 years for journalism. Moving on to the STEM endorsement pathway, there are 3 within STEM. We have STEM engineering, where a student starts in principles of engineering and then continue in that pathway. This last year, we offered a new course, digital electronics, that kids really found enjoyable. So that junior year, you can take either of those courses or both if your schedule allows. There's also STEM science for those that are really science-minded, and STEM math. Please keep in mind to earn a STEM endorsement, you must have Algebra 2 in physics, but we'll talk about that in just a moment. Moving to public services, this is our healthcare therapeutics endorsement. They start in principles of health science, then move on to medical terminology. And the same thing, that junior year, there's choices. They can take health science theory or anatomy physiology, or both, and then they can end up in either EKG practicum, where they earn an EKG technician license, or they can do pharmacology. Within arts and humanities, a student interested in doing fine arts, they would get 4 credits in 1 or 2 categories of fine arts. Foreign language would be 4 credits from 1 or 2 foreign languages, and social sciences would be 5 credits from social studies. I should make mention, a student, for example, that knows they want to do band all 4 years is certainly encouraged to do that. We want our kids to be involved in extracurriculars, but that does not mean they have to be in the fine arts endorsement pathway. They certainly can and have that option. But if they are also interested in engineering, for example, I would ask that they select engineering as their endorsement, because we only print 1 on a transcript, and I only track 1 for elective purposes. So if your student is going to do both, really choose the one that's more like the career pathway that they're trying to follow. Multidisciplinary, again, like I said, this is kind of for the student that doesn't have an interest in another one, or maybe we don't offer the area of interest that they're wanting to pursue. And so there's 3 in the multidisciplinary. You can take core subject, which is essentially requiring 4 English credits, 4 math, 4 science, and 4 social studies. They could do the dual credit multidisciplinary endorsement. And that would be, of course, taking dual credit courses 11th and 12th grade year, or the CTE, that's career and technical education, if they get 4 credits from within those pathways, and they would earn that endorsement. So that's a lot of information, but that's kind of endorsement. So remember, we're talking about that sandwich. That piece of bread is foundation. Your endorsement's your good meat that you want on there. So it's important for your student to choose a pathway that they'll enjoy all 4 years. So adding kind of the next layer would be the distinguished level of achievement. So in order to earn this, a student does have to get the foundation with endorsement, but within that, they must earn Algebra 2 credit. As long as your student takes 4 credits in math and earns Algebra 2, then they will earn the Distinguished Level of Achievement, and that is printed on a transcript and is something to be proud of. On top of Distinguished Level are performance acknowledgments. So this is kind of the icing on the cake, if you will. This is also printed on a transcript, and there's several ways for a student to earn a performance acknowledgement while in high school. As long as they get 12 hours of dual credit with a 3.0 GPA or higher, they earn it. And I'm very proud to say a lot of our students go that path, and that's wonderful. Another way to do it is in bilingualism and biliteracy. So as long as your student earns an 80 or higher in all 4 English courses and then take 3 foreign language credits with an 80 or higher, they can earn a performance acknowledgement in that area. Remember, you only need 2 foreign language credits to graduate, but we offer up to 4 levels in each language we offer. Another way to earn a performance acknowledgement is by earning a 3 or higher on an AP test. And then finally, with certain scores on the PSAT, SAT, or ACT. The other way is for earning a nationally or internationally recognized industry certification, which I'm proud to say as well, within our pathways, there is several opportunities to earn that. Okay, so just kind of recap, a student would start with the foundation program, but we expect them to also earn an endorsement. And then, of course, they can earn a distinguished level and performance acknowledgement, and that is kind of the way graduation works. I mentioned that we're going to just briefly speak on our rank policy that did change for the class of 2023 and beyond. This would definitely apply to your students. It should be noted that we are a non-ranking high school. We only rank the top 10% of students. And so if your student is not in the top 10%, then on their transcript it will say do not rank, and that's very understood. The other thing that should be noted is we only print the College 4.0, which is the non-weighted cumulative GPA for students not in the top 10%. However, if your student is going to be eligible for the top 10%, these are the courses that are included in class rank. So within English language arts, you can read those. It's our regular level English dual credit or AP. Within math, it's Algebra 1, 2, Geometry, our dual credit math, and AP Calculus, should we offer that anytime in the future. Science includes biology, chemistry, physics, and our dual credit option, including AP Physics. And then social studies includes U.S. history, government, and then the dual credit U.S. and dual credit government economics. Again, that's only going to apply to a very small percentage of kids, but we want you to have that information. And then the weighted GPA, again, this only applies to those within the top 10%. We are moving from a 4.0 to a up to 6.5 scale. All of this is found in the course description guide if you have more questions about that. So now for the exciting part, which courses will your student take as a freshman? Middle school courses. So if your student is currently in any of these, this will tell you which courses to take. If they're currently in Algebra 1, they need to sign up for Algebra 2, regular or honors. If they're currently in Spanish 1, they need to sign up for Spanish 2, and then they'll have met their foreign language requirement. If your student's in Spanish 1 and is not interested in continuing, they can certainly take one of our other options. However, you must have 2 years within the same language. If you're in World History, you may sign up for World Geography or an additional elective, and you'll see what I mean when we look at that course selection sheet. And then Art Studio, if your student earns that Art 1 credit, then they can sign up for Art 2. So this is a sheet, like I said, that students are given, so it's really easy. You'll either sign up for English 1 or English 1 honors. If your student is interested in honors, it does have to have teacher approval, so they need to get that signed off by a teacher. To be eligible for that, if a student is in regular 8th grade English, then they would need to get a 90 or higher. And if they are in advanced, then they need to get an 85 or higher. So it's important to know that. Math, again, Algebra 1, Algebra 2, or Algebra 2 honors. Science, the same. So World Geography or World History, and then foreign language, those are listed. So they can take Spanish, ASL, or computer science. Going on down the course selection sheet, students are given PE option. So they can take PE sports, which is more the traditional PE. PE strength and conditioning is a kind of weightlifting conditioning course. Athletics or marching band can count as a PE credit. And then endorsements, remember we spent a lot of time chatting about that, then they would choose whichever endorsement goes with their, or excuse me, whichever elective goes with their endorsement. And I'll show you that in just a second. So a fine art credit, you must have one before you graduate, and we really encourage students to get that their freshman year, so you'll circle one of those. And then another option, next year we'll be offering a class called Web Communications and Communication Applications. So that's a great course that's going to teach your students some public speaking skills, but also web-based communication, so that's an open elective for freshmen as well. Okay, so based on endorsements, obviously if your student chooses fine arts, then they need to choose a fine arts course, whether it's band, choir, theater, or art. But the ones that you really need to be careful about, because you can get behind if you don't choose them that freshman year, is in journalism, they need to request yearbook 1. In engineering, they would choose the principles of engineering. Health science would be principles of health science. Agribusiness would be principles of ag, food, and natural resources. Business management would be principles of business. Finance is also principles of business. If they want that, I need to change this. Design and multimedia arts, it'll be that principles of arts AV. And then programming and software development will be computer science. So here it talks about the courses, and I think I misspoke earlier. If a student's in honors 8th grade English, it's an 80 or higher, and I think I said 85. I apologize for the confusion, but this is just kind of explaining that. Keep in mind, just because your student chooses athletics doesn't mean they'll remain in athletics. They have to play a sport and make a team. So if a student does not play a sport or make the team, then they will be moved to PE. So I wanted to make that clear. We do have after-school athletics for PE credit if your student is involved in any of these sports: golf, tennis, soccer, track, cross-country, swimming, or cheerleading. You do not have to be in athletics to participate in any of those, and then you'll get the credit. However, if you participate in one of these and you're not in athletics, then you do have that additional elective to select. I should note that we will select 8 courses, so it's important to keep in mind your student will be in 8 classes as a freshman. So band for PE credit, once the fall semester is over and marching season is over, then you'll earn a half a credit. And then, also students can choose to be in marching band and boys athletics. Only one shows up on their schedule, but our coaches and band directors are really good about communicating with each other. So if your student wants to be in both, select whichever one, that's totally fine. And then just reach out to those directors and coaches so they can be aware to work with your kiddo. Okay, so the next steps are the personal graduation plan. That's where you're going to select your endorsements. Those need to be turned into history teachers or emailed directly to me, or they can be sent to the front office, whatever's easier for you. And then once you have your endorsement selected, then you'll choose your courses on your course selection sheet. And like I said, I really want those to be turned into history teacher or me. And then on Thursday, quick turnaround. Thank you, Snowmageddon. On Thursday, myself and Miss Wright will be working with your students to get them registered. So it's a quick turnaround, but if you have questions, we are here to answer and support along the way. So the first thing I would ask you to do is go to my webpage. There's tons of information there, and a lot of it can be reviewed. You can also review the course description guide there, and then otherwise you can email me with whatever questions you have. Again, I know this is a lot of information, and I know a lot of probably mom and daddy hearts are breaking because their babies are growing up. I look at this all the time, so it makes total sense to me, but I fully recognize that this is a lot. So please reach out if you have questions, or we can help you in any way. I hope that all is well, and I look forward to getting to know you and your student. We'll see you soon.